What's up, guys? It's Bumpkins. Today is Wednesday, August 10th. Wednesday means New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day means New Comic Book Haul video. As always, I went down to Infinity Flux here in Chattanooga, Tennessee for an actually kind of small stack of books, considering what I usually get. But you guys know that I can't do a small week, so I'm more than made up for this smaller stack of books with a much bigger stack of really cool extra goodies that we will take a look at in a little bit. First, guys, if you are on the Whatnot app and you're looking for a great seller who sells awesome things all week long, then check out Infinity Flux. They're at Infinity Flux Comics, all one word, on Whatnot. They'll be linked in the description below. They do shows 3 times a week. Bronze Age books, Silver Age books, new books, action figures, theme nights, all kinds of stuff. They just participated in Whatnot's official Slabapalooza event a week or two ago that was really fun. So yeah, if you are looking for a great seller on Whatnot, be sure to check them out. So starting with Marvel, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 7, the Predator variant. No, the Predator does not show up in this issue. This was kind of weird for me. So this is the start of a new story arc, number 6, which was also Legacy number 900, was sort of a one-and-done story of Spider-Man in the Sinister Six going up against the Living Brain and the Super Adaptoid. That was a fun story. This is the beginning of a new one. And in this issue, so there's a couple issues I have with this. So in this issue, Peter seemingly starts, or not really starts yet, but he's offered a position at Norman Osborn's company. And it's this big, it's this huge company researching aeronautical equipment and that kind of stuff. But we've seen this story so many times before, like when Peter went to Horizon Labs and worked there for a while, which I thought that was really fun. We've just so many stories where Peter gets a job at some big company where he gets to use his science knowledge and build cool stuff, and he inevitably screws it up and loses that job. Also, it's Norman Osborn's company, and they're like super chummy, at least through half of this. Peter does kind of bow up on him a little bit because of something that happens. But it's so weird. I mean, I know there was I don't quite remember, but in Nick Spencer's run with the Sin Eater and the Sin Eater absolving Norman of his sins and that kind of stuff. But Norman Osborn was responsible for the death of Peter Parker's first love. He's responsible for kidnapping Peter and Mary Jane's baby. I mean, I don't know if that stuff is canon now that Secret Wars has happened, but he is responsible for the supposed death of Aunt May, only to have her come back, and he messed with Peter thinking his parents had come back. Norman has been a thorn in Peter's side, and not just something like an annoyance. I'm talking like a major threat in Peter's life, his whole life. And now they're kind of chummy and maybe gonna work together. That is just really, really hard for me to accept. I know this is a world where a guy got bitten by a radioactive spider and can climb up walls, but just that, it just kind of flies in the face of everything that's come before it. I feel like it was still kind of an interesting issue. Oh, and the main issue, the main villain of this is the Vulture, and okay, like, I don't really love the Vulture. He's an old man. I don't really see how he poses a threat to Spider-Man, although he does kind of pose a threat to him in this, but so I'm still not just absolutely loving this Spider-Man title, but because it's Amazing Spider-Man, I'm never not going to buy it. But just this just isn't the story that I want, but maybe it'll get better. I'm just trying not to throw much hate on it. I just have some problems with it, but we'll see how it keeps going in the next several issues. So this next one I really liked, Captain America Sentinel of Liberty number 3. So you guys know that there's 2 Captain America books right now. There's Symbol of Truth, and that's the Sam Wilson Cap book. And then there's Sentinel of Liberty, this is the Steve Rogers Cap book. And I have enjoyed all 3 of these so far. This is the best one, though. This is really good, and we're already starting to get a few answers into the mystery of who, the secrets behind Captain America's shield. He was told in issue 1, I believe, that it's not his shield, it's their shield. Well, we're starting to learn who they are, a secret organization. Now, this story is a little bit cliche. There's a mysterious organization that's been operating in the shadows for decades, and they've been pulling the strings and all that kind of stuff. We've seen it a lot before, but I'm kind of a sucker for those stories, so I was into this. We do learn a bit about Captain America's shield. Not really about the shield itself, I guess, but like what it represents to this organization. There was some good action in this, some good like shield throwing, Captain America flipping and jumping off things, fighting this guy whose name I guess is redacted, but I'm not really sure yet. But this was just really, really fun. We also get some cool Bucky and Peggy Carter moments in this, which is kind of like a little side story, but still related to this whole thing. So yeah, I have enjoyed all 3 issues so far, but this one, by far and away, is the best so far. Next up is Predator #1. So I wasn't going to get this because as much as I love the Predator, I don't know if I really need a comic book, but I was curious as to what a Marvel Predator book looks like, what the story is that they're telling. I had to go with the Scotty Young cover, like that's an adorable, like I want an animated Predator series, like with this little guy in it. So this story is pretty interesting. It takes place in the year 2056. There is a young girl named Theta who in 2041 witnessed a Predator kill her parents and a bunch of the crew that they were with, and she, I guess, kind of like Batman, like she's vowed vengeance on that Predator. So she's grown up training. We see her fight and kill a Predator at the beginning of this issue, and she's searching the galaxy looking for the specific Predator that killed her parents. She has, along the way, gathered data from the Predator she's killed, and she's able to track like their hunting patterns and things like that. So that part was really interesting. I don't think that I need this every month, so I'm probably not going to get any more past this. I do want to see where the story goes. I think I'll just hit it on Marvel Unlimited when it comes out. But yeah, this was good. And what's really interesting is on the very inside cover, or maybe it's like the first page, but they establish a timeline, and it says, 1987, a Predator lands on Earth, and a group of soldiers fight it, talking about the original Predator. Then it talks about 97, when a cop has to, fight the Predator, talking about Danny Glover, Predator 2. So, and then Predators, the movie with all the prisoners on the planet, and then the newest Predator movie from a couple years ago. Like, it lays all of those out in a timeline. So I guess all of those are canon with this book, which is pretty interesting. So I wasn't really sure if the newer Predator movies were canon or not. Not that it really matters, but it's cool that this is all laid out in this book. So yeah, this was a fun issue, not one that I need every month, but still an interesting read. And then the last one for Marvel, kind of a small Marvel week, is Venom Lethal Protector #5. So this is the end of this miniseries. I have not read this issue yet, but last night I did read #4. So I am caught up, ready to read this one. It's been really fun. I've really enjoyed the artwork in this. Venom. We learned at the end of issue #4 who was pulling the strings behind all of these villains that are going after Venom and trying to collect this bounty. And now I'm assuming we see Venom go up against that person or confront that person. And it should be pretty cool. So unfortunately, I didn't read this one yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. Next up for DC, we've got Dark Crisis: Worlds Without a Justice League Green Lantern #1. So that's a lofty title there. So we know in Dark Crisis that the Justice League aren't actually dead, that they are instead like imprisoned in these little worlds that Pariah has created, and he's using them to power whatever he's trying to power, right? And while they're in these little worlds, the worlds that they're in are their idealized version of their world. So in this one, John Stewart has gotten his Emerald Knight, like his ultimate Green Lantern ability. I'm not explaining that properly because I didn't read that whole series where he got that power, but he is called upon by Kyle Rayner, and Jason Todd is a Green Lantern on this world apparently. They need his help to fight these aliens that kind of look like these big demon-winged babies. That's a weird sentence to say. But, and he goes out and helps them. And just, I guess his idealized version of the world is a world where he's needed, but isn't needed. I'm not really sure like how this is his ideal version of the world, but he does have his little sister back. This is a weird one. I'm not explaining this too well. Maybe if I had read the rest of the Green Lantern series, I would understand this better. But it was still pretty good. These tie-ins aren't really necessary to the main Dark Crisis storyline. This is just showing us what the heroes are doing while the rest of the world thinks they're dead. We also do get a Hot Girl backup story. I probably liked it a little bit better, but it was the same kind of thing, her in her ideal world. But yeah, not a necessary one, but still pretty interesting side story to Dark Crisis. Next up is Superman Son of Kal-El #14. So this is really good. So in this issue, John Kent, Superman, and Jay Nakamura take the fight to Henry Bendix. and they call upon the revolutionaries who first appeared in Tom Taylor's Suicide Squad Bad Blood. Was it Bad Blood, I think? In that series, so that's pretty cool. We get a really cool... So Jay Nakamura gets a super suit in this. John takes him to the Fortress of Solitude. There, he has a suit from the future and gives it to Jay, gives him a Legion ring so he can fly. What's really cool is they make mention of how Jay has to... So Jay's power is he can go intangible, kind of like Kitty Pryde from the X-Men, but he has to become tangible to use the ring, otherwise it would just fall right through him. I thought that was pretty interesting, because they could just easily have just not said anything about it. But we do get a really cool 2-page sequence, not a 2-page spread, but it's a 2-page sequence of Jay in his suit with the Legion ring, like flying up to the Bendix's building, or the building that's controlling the shield that he's put over the nation of Gamora. He takes out a few guards and gets into the inner room of that building, and it was just a really cool sequence of Jay kind of being all tough and stuff. I really thought that was cool. The artwork was really cool and everything. But yeah, so from here on, you know, like I said, they're all on the offensive, and I don't know. I really enjoyed this one. Can't wait to see what happens next. And last for DC, I told you it was a kind of a small week, is Harley Quinn number 19. So I got Harley Quinn number 18 last week, so this story arc that she's going through right now is actually weekly, so I think there's another one coming out next week. I didn't read the last one. I haven't read this one. Not sure if I'm going to, because I'm not currently reading Harley Quinn, but I love these homage covers to like old school comics, right? So this one, instead of Robin busting through, we've got Harley Quinn busting through with her name and the old school logo. So yeah, I'm just getting these for the covers because I just think they're really cool. As for Image and the other indies, we've got one of my favorites, 8 Billion Genies number 4. So I sat down to read this, and of course I knew it was going to be good, but I kind of thought, all right, here's another issue of, we get to see how crazy things have gotten in the world where everybody has their own genie. And we do see that because, you know, we see that a lot of people have wished for superpowers, basically. But a lot of people have wished for superpowers, some of whom have wished for them to do good, some who have wished for them to do evil. And so basically there's like a bunch of superheroes fighting a bunch of supervillains, right? So that was fun. But what I didn't expect, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but this issue starts to give us some answers as to who the genies are. Not necessarily where they come from, but why they're there. We learned something interesting about one of the characters in the book. I just wasn't expecting to get a little bit of extra information in this issue. We learn more about the world itself and sort of the different phases it's going through now that all the genies are there. Just really interesting, really surprising to get that extra information. I just thought it was going to be fun to read about the crazy screwed up world, but we got that, and we're starting to get some clues as to what's going on. One of my favorites, guys. If you aren't reading this yet, I highly recommend it. Next is King Spawn number 13, this awesome Violator cover. Haven't read any Spawn yet. This is going to go in the Spawn stack to catch up on at some point, but super happy to have it. So the last one from Image is one that I was aware of, but I hadn't planned on getting. I didn't pre-order it or anything, but then my friends in my comic shop are really good at just making everything sound good, so I picked it up. So this is from Tom King and artist Elsa Chartier. I hope I'm not pronouncing that. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. It's Love Everlasting number 1. So this is the variant cover. This is done by Clayman. I love Clayman, so I try to get covers of his when I can. This story is interesting. So this story has 4 different stories in it, and they're done kind of in like 1950s romance comic style, where a girl named Joan falls in love with her boss. In another story, a girl named Joan falls in love with a rocker. This is like back in the 60s. In another story, a girl named Joan falls in love, or is falling in love with, it's like an Old West, so it kind of looks like this, and she's falling in love with somebody who's a friend of her family, but a stable boy comes along too. And then I won't say what the last story is, but it's all the same character. So this Joan character, I can't remember her last name, but Joan is the same character in all these stories, and they all take place at different times. And I don't want to say too much, but I'll give you just a little hint. So she falls in love with a man named George in the first one, and then in the next one, she falls in love with a rock star named Kit, like I said. And I thought, okay, so this is going to be like a fun little anthology series of this character named Joan throughout the years or whatever. But during the second story, where she falls in love with a guy named Kit, she's like, She says, wait a minute. Wasn't I just in love with a guy named George? I don't know any George. Why do I feel like I was in love with a guy named George? And you're like, wait a minute. What is going on? So there's a little bit of connective tissue through each one of these stories, but we don't know like what's going on. And then the last story is I don't know what. I don't know what the last story is, and then, you know, the last like page or so is something else that's interesting. So this is just really legitimately interesting. Like, I want to know what's going on with Joan. Why is she falling in love with guys in different eras and kind of remembers, but then all of a sudden, you know, she's with one guy, but then all of a sudden she's in another. I have no idea, but I'm on board to find out. So I think I might get this one monthly because I want to see what's going on. So if you guys want, so this is, you know, it's like a romance story. I don't want that, but this is more than that. So if you guys are looking for something completely different to read, I would highly recommend Love Everlasting. And last of the single issues is from Vault. This is Mindset number 2, so I did not get a chance to read this one either. The first issue was about a group of a young people, like college age, and they more or less, kind of accidentally, tap into or discover a frequency that when humans hear it, they're mind controlled basically. And we know from the beginning of the first issue that they use that to create an app that can do that, and then most of the issue is spent sort of flashback into, you know, how that all came about. I don't know. I'm assuming we're done with the flashback maybe, and now this is going to go forward. I don't know because I haven't read it, but it was a really interesting premise, and it'll be cool to see where the story goes from there. But the fun doesn't stop there. So you guys saw that it was a pretty small week for single issues, but I'm serious. Like, I've got a bunch of cool extra goodies here. It's been a while since I've gotten this many extra goodies and this many different kinds of extra goodies. So let's start with Captain America Epic Collection Sturm und Drang, I guess. I don't really know how to pronounce that. But this collects Captain America number 286 through 301 and the 4-issue Falcon miniseries from the mid-80s. I really like the Marvel Epic Collections, and I'm trying to start getting them as they come out if I don't already have them collected in something else, another trade or an omnibus or something. There is another Captain America Epic Collection. I guess it came out today because my shop had this and that one together. But most of what was in it is in one of the Captain America Omnis I have over here, so I didn't get that one. But yeah, I don't quite remember what stories are in here. I think there might be some Power Broker stuff in here. Or maybe not. I can't quite remember when that happened. But yeah, I don't have these issues collected, and like I said, I really like these Epic Collections, so I thought I really wanted to get this. Next up is Jack Kirby's Compendium, The Last Boy on Earth trade paperback. This collects issues 1 through 20 of the original Compendium series, or is it Compendium? I'm not sure. I'll say Compendium. I've never read any Compendium. I don't know much about him at all, but I thought this would be a great book to get if I'm wanting to learn. I've always been kind of interested. This whole thing is done by Jack Kirby, of course. You know, he's a Jack Kirby creation, and yeah, I just thought it'd be really cool. You know, I'll try to work it into the reading schedule at some point. But yeah, just you know, just a book I've never read in a nice big collection, 20 issues total, so I really wanted to pick it up. Next from Dark Horse is a trade paperback called Cold Bodies. So I don't know if this was released in individual issues. I kind of think it was, but I'm not sure. It may just be like its own thing. But this kind of sounds like Scream in the fact that in this town, you know, years ago, there was a brutal massacre, and one girl survived. And years later, she comes back to town, to her hometown where that massacre happened, and that town sort of not worships, but like celebrates that massacre as like a classic event now. The world around her has become obsessed with the murders through a popular film franchise called Snow Day. So that reminds me of the Stab movies inside the Scream movies, right? And yeah, I don't quite know the rest of the story from there, but that was enough to pique my interest. The art is so it's written by Magdalene Visaggio with art by Andrea, I think, Muti. Andrea Muti does the art for Maniac of New York, and I really like it. Kind of uses the same sort of color scheme. I'm trying to find a good example. There's a lot of blues and yellows and or maybe kind of green and like reds. So something like this, which is the same, you know, Maniac of New York was the same kind of thing. Just really cool artwork, which is one of the things that attracted me to this book. Plus, it sounds like a cool, like, sort of murder mystery kind of thing. So yeah, I thought this would be a really good read. Next is another from Dark Horse, another trade paperback called Orphan and the Five Beasts. So I did get the first 2 issues when this came out. Thought they were really cool. Thought I wanted to wait for trade to get this. This includes 1 through 4. It was a miniseries, and this has the whole thing. So this is just kind of like a new sort of like samurai tale, like set back in those times where this, I don't know if they're like a Ronin or adopted warrior seeks to find and kill 5 former disciples who now threaten the land with corruption from their demonic powers. I'll just read straight from the back because I'm terrible at giving descriptions. So yeah, the art in this is really interesting. I'll try to find, let's find one real quick because there was, well, here we go. I mean, look at this, look at that amazing art right there. So yeah, I just thought, you know, like I said, the first 2 issues were really cool, and I wanted to get the whole thing in one nice book. And last of the books, notice I said of the books, is one I've been really excited for. I'm so excited that it is out. Spawn Compendium number 3. So this collects Spawn number 101 through 150. So I've got Compendium 1 and Compendium 2. So now with those 3 together, I have all the way through 150. I love these compendiums because they're super simple. 50 issues each. And that's it. So, and Todd McFarlane has said that they plan on releasing more of these. So I'm presuming we're going to get 6 total, going all the way up to 600, and then probably a 7th once they get to 750, but they're not there yet. Some of these issues have never been collected before. So they stopped collecting issues in the 100s. Now there is a hardcover. It's either coming out or it came out at the same, like it might be out today, or it's coming soon. It collects issues 100 or maybe like 101 through 125. But it was twice the price, half the issues. Plus, I've talked about it before. I just love these big, thick, like paperbacks for stuff like this. So yeah, super excited to have this, and I definitely plan on reading it all one day because I never read past like issue 30 something in the 90s because that's just when I fell off of it. But super excited to have just even more Spawn in my collection. But the fun doesn't even stop there. We've got a couple more cool things as well. So the first one is this cool Predator art box that I picked up today. You guys know I love the art boxes, and I think that Predator comic is the only one I have, and I have a couple of like the Alien comics from Marvel. So I don't really have anything that fits this box, but I got a bunch of comics, and I always need boxes to put in their comics, or to put comics in, and I like the art boxes, and yeah, they just had a bunch of them sitting in my store. I'm pretty sure they came out today. So I just had to pick it up. Now this one is kind of plain, like the lid's black, like the Something Is Killing Your Children one had that cool like print on top. This one's just black, the ends are black, and the sides are the same picture and nothing on the bottom. So this one is a little bit more plain, but still that's a really, really cool picture of the Predator. And last but not least, one more thing that I haven't opened yet, but I'm very excited to, is I got this really cool SpiderMan the Animated Series bust. So the official name is Spider-Sense SpiderMan. So this is taken straight from the Spider-Man animated series, but like all the times when his spider sense would go off and his suit would get really shaded. So that's why it's all black, because it's like it's supposed to look like when his spider sense went off in the cartoon, and it's a lot of shading on his costume. So there's a picture of it right there. So I haven't opened this yet. I'm going to make a TikTok of me unboxing this, so that'll be on TikTok, and I'll probably upload that as a short to YouTube as well. But yeah, I just thought this was really cool when I saw it. This was a pre-order, and thankfully my shop was able to actually order it and get it in. So that was really cool. Guys, I appreciate you doing that. So yeah, super excited to have this, and I've been looking for stuff to go up here, and I'm thinking that this might be a good candidate for that. And that's it, guys. Like I said, a small single issue week, but I'm more than made up for it with all the other cool stuff. Guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video or any of the other videos on my channel, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a sarcastic thumbs up. And if nothing else, let me know what you picked up this week. Was it a small week for you? Did you get a whole bunch of extra goodies as well? Did you get this bust? Because I hope so, because it's really cool. Whatever you got, just let me know. I love comic books. I could talk about them with a room full of people or just to a camera. Guys, don't forget, comic books are supposed to be fun. They're just another fun form of storytelling. Fun stories, fun art. Most of comics are fictional. It's all made up. In the grand scheme of things, none of it matters anyway. They're just stories for you to read and enjoy. There's so much stuff out there that it's very easy to look through everything, find something that interests you, and whatever does not interest you, just simply disregard those things and let everybody else enjoy those things. Also, don't forget that it does not matter how much you buy each week or each month. What makes a great comic book haul is that the things that you get are really important to you, really special, gets you really excited and happy to be reading comic books. Whether it's 1 book, 10 books, 100 books, it does not matter how much you buy as long as what you do buy is really special to you. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.